There's just so much to love about the world of boxing, from the training sessions to the pressers and the fights themselves. However, none of these moments could ever bring as much chills and thrills as the stare downs. Today, we bring you a top 8 list of all the very best boxers who have mastered this art and delivered the most intimidating stare downs in boxing history. Stick around till the end of the video as we relive those amazing moments. 8. Clay Guida versus Diego Sanchez. Clay the Caveman Guida's stare down is one hell of a scary one and can be really intense. You can only imagine how insane it will be having him go up against a fighter like Diego Sanchez. This stare down quickly turned into the most aggressive stare down in fighting history. Both these men seemed like they wanted a piece of each other and wanted no one to come between them. It was so bad that Guida was so determined to show off his teeth like some guard dog ready to attack. Sanchez, on the other hand, was determined to look deep into Guida's eyes to find fear, or even more, create that fear he wanted to see. The stare down was so intense and crazy that the main match didn't even come close to it.
One thing only. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Albuquerque. I love you, Albuquerque. Yeah! This is my booty can. Like Ross, I knew our chemistry was going to be great. I fight for the fans. I fight for the company. I love you, UFC.
7. Don Fry versus James Thompson. The stare down between Don Fry and James Thompson has to be one of the craziest we've seen in a long time. This session got so intense that both fighters began headbutting each other, all in the name of a stare down. These men had turned what was supposed to be a stare down into nose wrestling, and even worse, neither of them seemed like they were willing to back away. I mean, it somehow made sense that if the referee wasn't going to authorize them to start throwing punches, they could as well start the fight with their heads. They showed that they were more than ready to get a piece of each other, and by the time the fight was on, they proved us right, as at some point all they did was continuously swing at each other's heads. But for some reason, Fry got most of the hits, causing Thompson to win by way of knockout. 6. Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald. Coming in at number 6 is one of the craziest stare downs ever. Crazy enough, this particular stare down wasn't even the starter of the match. In fact, it was the 4th round, and at this point, their face looked like it was straight out of a horror movie. These men had fought so hard and taken their frustration out on each other that they punched each other's faces to a pulp. And by the 4th round, what we saw was a stare down that consisted of two guys staring deep into each other's souls with bloody faces. Although we could barely see the eyes of either of these fighters, we could tell from the locked-in stare they were showing real animalistic instincts. It was like they hadn't had enough and wanted more. By the end of this match, Lawler landed a knockout that carried him to victory.
It's more exciting because I showed everyone I'm a true fighter. I come to fight. No matter what happens, I keep coming, and I'm trying to knock people out.
5. Terry Norris versus Meldrick Taylor. These two fighters came into the ring with just one look on their faces that they meant business. To be fair, in a moment like this, we can't promise we won't cower away in fear or burst a laugh. But both these fighters and many more in the industry somehow managed to stare deep into the souls of their opponents, like Norris and Taylor outbreaking a sweat. All we can see in Norris's eyes are looks that clearly say, "Bring it on." And what's crazier is that Taylor didn't break that eye contact for even a second till the referee dismissed them into their corners. Although there has to be a winner at the end of such a fight, we can all agree that no one lost this intense stare down. But getting into this match, Norris proved that he brought his A game to the ring and delivered a TKO in the 4th round.
150, 48 for this fight. I might go down to welterweight, fight somebody there. I have no idea right now. Maybe go up to the middleweight, fight someone there. But right now, I'm gonna take me a little rest, and then we'll go back to the managers and trainers, and then we'll decide.
4. Thomas the Hitman Hearns versus Wilfred Benitez. You can only imagine what sort of damage a man named the Hitman could do. Indeed, Thomas Hearns was a force, in fact, a beast to be reckoned with in the ring. However, there came a time when his opponent was someone capable of performing as much as Hearns could. While Wilfred Benitez may not have been a part of the 4 kings of boxing, the man was capable of raising hell in the ring. The man was a top fighter, and his stare downs were known to be insanely intense, with a track record of not being intimidated. With that, you can already guess how amazing this particular stare down was going to be. Somehow, these full-grown men get into a blinking contest trying to intimidate the other person into blinking, or at least showing fear. But it didn't just end that way for these men. In fact, their refusal to back down from the stare down extended to the fight, where Hearns came out victorious by a major decision. 3. James Thompson versus Alexander Emelianenko. One thing is for sure, and that is you never can really get enough of this James Thompson and his stare down. And although we've seen him in action before, this time around it gets even more intense than the last against his opponent Alexander Emelianenko. The only thing is, the tables turn this time about. On the one hand, we had Thompson looking straight into Emelianenko's soul, searching for all the secrets that lie within and picking which to haunt him with. On the other hand was Emelianenko, who seemed like he would rather be anywhere else but having a stare down. But that right there was his own style of showing his opponent that he wasn't scared of anything. His entire demeanor was so relaxed during the entire stare down, like he already knew just how the fight would turn out. And just like we called it, Emelianenko proved that there was more to this fight than freaking staring into a grown man's eyes. Thompson may have had a great time wearing that intimidating look at the stare down, but maybe he should have spent more time reading Emelianenko's resume and training than seriously practicing for a stare down. In just a matter of seconds, Emelianenko served him a proper beat-up, completely pounding Thompson's ego to dust. 2. Mike Tyson versus Peter McNeely. If you're familiar with Mike Tyson's fights, then you most likely know about his death stares. Stares so intense that even the greatest confidence could melt away immediately. And what better reference can we bring forward than the time Mike Tyson went up against Peter McNeely? You've got to have some insane level of confidence or stupidity to bounce in a spot under the gaze of a man like Mike Tyson. And in the case of McNeely, we realized that the former is the case. This clearly can't be compared to the case of Emelianenko, who had a record of delivering despite being overly comfortable during stare downs. Here, McNeely literally had his eyes closed for the first few seconds of the stare down, and once he locked eyes with Tyson, all he could think of was to laugh it all away. Smart one, McNeely. Really smart. I guess he was the only one who got the joke, because all this while the whole world went still due to the terrifying look on Tyson's face. The laugh quickly disappeared off McNeely's face because he knew for a fact that he was toast at this point and there was no saving. Number 1. Vanderlei Silva versus Mirko Kroko. Coming in at number 1 is this stare down that had the whole world at the edge of its seats. On the one hand is Vanderlei, nicknamed the Axe Murderer, a savage middleweight champion who looked like he could kill anything and everything in his way. But that was until he had to go up against a man like Mirko Kroko. For more emphasis, this man was the head of an anti-terrorist squadron in Croatia. While Silva may have looked like he could kill anything in front of him, Mirko was an actual murderer, a killer in his own right, and an elite high-level kickboxer. Looking at Mirko's eyes on the left, you could tell this man had killed a crazy number of people out there. The look in those eyes would literally give you chills. While Vanderlei's jumping around trying to get a reaction out of Mirko, the man is not budging in the slightest. Interestingly, this turned out to be the first time Vanderlei lost the stare down, considering he had been the guy who intimidated every other opponent out there. But during this stare down, Mirko reduced Vanderlei to nothing but a perfectly cooked meal for dinner. Now that is a stare down, because in those 30 seconds, there wasn't a single blink from Mirko. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another upload. See you in the next video.